was one of those things that it's almost like it's so much lore that I almost think like, did it really happen, or is it just the memory? I don't even know anymore. But I do have some recollection. We were in London for a pay-per-view, and it was a private plane that Vince had rented, and we were taking it back to New York because we had to do Monday Night Raw. So I guess it was delayed like 4 or 5 hours on the runway. So it was packed with alcohol. And, so we're bored. We just literally went from the pay-per-view to the plane to get out that same night so we can have at least a day's rest in New York before we do Monday Night Raw, because the pay-per-view was on Saturday in London. So then we just, and the wrestlers, right? And then just one thing led to another. And you get that crew of guys on a plane, right, with nothing but time. Flair, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, Vince, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. I mean, you name it, dude. The Kid, X-Pac. I mean, it was wild. And everything you heard as far as the hair cutting from Michael Hayes was true. Michael Hayes is an obnoxious prick always. So that really did happen. Everything kind of did happen as per. But the one thing I recall more than anything was I was sitting next to Scott Hall the whole time. And believe it or not, and I was a big fuck up at the time at this point in my career, I was the sober one. Scott was out. So I had to put sunglasses on him, get a wheelchair. I did Weekend at Bernie's pretty much with Scott Hall. Like he's dead. I have sunglasses on him and I'm wheeling him through customs myself. He's not responsive. Like he could be dead. Nobody knows. And all of a sudden I see Jim Ross, like as we clear customs, just looking at me with the hat going. And he was the talent relations head honcho, just looking at me like this. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, what do you want me to do? I'm here. I'm fine. But yeah, it was just crazy. It was funny.
And was Vince like kind of in the middle of all this drinking with you guys, or did he sit away?
He was. He certainly was. But it wasn't as egregious as I think people let on. There were a couple of things, but Vince normally does not sit with the boys, so I think that, of course, added to it for sure, because he was like right. Yeah. If I remember, he was like 5 or 6 seats back on the right-hand side of me. We were kind of up front, and a lot of the debauchery was happening in the back. Like Flair was all the way in the back with the robe. But yeah, it was just wild, man. It's one of those things that could probably never happen again.